Hey guys, what is up and welcome to today's video. Well, I wanted to really take some time to talk about dupe Scarlet Witch endgame and how you can like fully maximize her and get a lot more out of the character than you can just playing her duped. So when you dupe the champion, she's really good, but there are a few kind of tips and tricks when it especially comes to some of the endgame challenges. We're talking Realm of Legends, Labyrinth of Legends, and stuff like Mignar's Cavalry Challenge. So there's a lot of like fighting styles and little perks that you may already know or you may not know, and kind of this video is to go over all of the little tips and tricks to kind of help you maximize the potential of this character. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is crit. So let's start in the Masteries tree. So kind of your goal with Scarlet Witch is to basically get as many crits as possible. It's all about the frequency of your crits, and this is extremely important in Mignar's Cavalry Challenge, where you had to crit as much as you could to one, stun the opponent and prevent them, using any abilities, or either keep them power locked or power drain them. And that was very important to staying alive. Again, in fights like Rhino in Mignar's Cavalry Challenge and also the prelude to Labyrinth of Legends, it is so important that you proc as many crits as possible, because you are going to need to try and get as many chances to get regeneration so that you can survive and fight for as long as possible. So in terms of like the masteries and stuff that you use, I think to kind of get the most out of the champion, it's probably quite important that you invest at least 5 out of 5 into precision, right? That is a given for any champion. It's 2% crit per node. However, I've gone the extra mile, right? And I think this is kind of in lesser precision. I've gone 5 out of 5 there. So, usually most people just go 1 out of 5, but going 5 out of 5 and investing 4 points gives you an additional 2% crit rate, which means that in every 100 hits, you're going to get 2 more chances to proc your signature ability, which in the really difficult matchups, guys, can make all the difference. 2% crit rate is nothing to be overlooked. And to be honest, like the core of Scarlet Witch is all about how many crits she can do and how high her signature ability is. So having kind of the, a total of 12.5% additional from Masteries is, in my opinion, really good. But in terms of Masteries, those are really the only core things you need to worry about when playing Scarlet Witch. Now, another one that does come in handy for stuff like if you want to take on Realm of Legends Wolverine with a Scarlet Witch is having 3 out of 3 in Despair. That is amazing, especially combined with a crit team and the crit synergies. We'll cover crit teams in just a second. But yeah, with the amount of debuffs that you're doing, usually you can get close to 100% healing reduction on the enemy. So yeah, Despair is something that is really good, and I would suggest maybe picking up. Now, there is also one Assassin, which does have a little bit of a perk. So below 18% health, I don't think this one, let me start by saying, is worth it unless you have a lot of units and a lot of mastery points to spare. But if there are any fights that are difficult below 18% health, it actually increases your offensive ability accuracy, which means that, you get even more procs on your duped ability. So it's good if there is any fight that kind of has like a burn phase below 18% health. But yeah, nothing has really come into too much context like that. For example, that would have probably made Mignar's Cavalry Challenge Iron Man a bit easier, because he doesn't regen until 15%, but when you are nuking him in that 18 to 15%, you're going to proc a lot more debuffs, and, with the Mastery Despair, again, reduces healing even more. But yeah, those are, to be honest, the crit masteries are the real essential ones that you need here. But anyway, let's talk about more crit, guys. How do you get more crit apart from the masteries? And that is all about your team setup. So let's go into just a random just any random quest now, so I can show you some ideal teams. So let's start off with the B team, right? The B team, I would say, for any Scarlet Witch, is double Captain America. So you need a 4-star and a 3-star one, and then an Iron Man and a Superior Iron Man. So this activates a total of 5 crit nodes, which is, depending on your dupe level, anywhere between, I think it's like, what is it? It's 29% and 33%, I believe, is the maximum that you can go up to. Again, you can't double up so 3-star champions have 6% crit nodes, and 4-star ones have 7%. So that's how you can, get up to the 33% here, is you have 2 7s from the 4-star Captain America. From the 3-star one, you have 2 6s, and then if you got a 4-star Iron Man, that's another 7, and then if you got a 4-star Superior Iron Man, that's another 7. So it only goes up to a maximum of 33%. However, if you've been very, very lucky and pulled a 5-star Juggernaut, there is actually an even better team, which allows you to get up to 35% crit with Scarlet Witch. So I'm just going to quickly build this team now. So it consists of 2 Juggernauts, a Hulk, and a Colossus. Now, again, this lights up a potential 5 crit nodes. However, if you do have the 5-star Juggernaut, that is going to be a 7% crit node instead of a 6% one, and the same with 4-star Colossus, so that brings it up to a potential total of 35% crit. So if we add that to the Masteries, that is 47.5% crit, and then I believe the base crit chance is somewhere between about 10 and 50% crit, so that kind of brings you up to about 60% overall crit, which is really, really powerful. So that on average is 3 of every 5 of your combo hits are going to crit and proc a buff, depending on obviously the signature ability of your Scarlet Witch. Now that's the next thing we're going to talk about, is the signature ability of Scarlet Witch. Mainly talking about signature stones, I guess, and how many should I invest. So let's actually, let me quickly flip over to Frog Spawn. So on this, we've got a signature ability level calculator. So let's look at what happens when you dupe her once. So when she's level 20 and you've duped her for the first time, it gives her a just over a 70% chance to proc a buff or debuff, depending, on the signature ability level, of course. When you dupe her for the second time, so you bring that up to 40, we're looking at 80, almost 84% there. But then when you bring her up to 60, it's only 90%. However, I do think if you do have the signature stone, she's probably worth bringing all the way up to 60. I mean, in Marvel Contest of Champions at the moment, mine is 47, and I plan on continually using all my signature stones until she's level 60, but after that, level 60 is 90.8% chance, and it's just such a low additional percentage after that I wouldn't say it's really worthwhile. You're better off just waiting to dupe her a couple more times. But yeah, so if you do have the stones, guys, I would probably suggest bringing her up to either 40 or 60, depending on if you've duped Black Widow or not. But she's definitely, worth investing the signature stones in. She gets a real good benefit from that. Now, we've gone over how you get insane crit. We've gone over how, what kind of level you should ideally aim for on the signature ability. Obviously, it'd be great to get 100, but, duping Scarlet Witch is difficult enough, let alone getting that amount of signature stones. Let's talk about buffs and stuff that you can use to enhance her performance even more. So there are 2 types of buffs in the game. There are these champion boosts. So this is really, really good for Scarlet Witch. This increases the 20% one, increases their attack and health by 20% for 40 minutes. Now this also, her regen is based on her maximum health. So again, this gives her just even more healing when she procs her regen. Her regen is insanely strong, heals for about 25% of her maximum health, so she really benefits from a boost like this, where she gets additional health and damage. And also, I'm just trying to find the other 2 buffs that she has. So another thing that stacks with the additional 20% damage buff is actually the lesser health and lesser attack boost. Now, on nodes that have Safeguard, which don't allow champions to be damaged for more than 1% of their health, lesser attack boost isn't really needed or necessary. But in pretty much every context, the lesser health boost is a really good addition to this character. Again, it allows you to regenerate even more health, so this combined with the 20%, yet 35% additional health, which is crazy good. So now I want to talk about the fighting style of Scarlet Witch, and probably what I think is the best way to approach most of the difficult fights, especially on nodes that have either Safeguard or stuff like Power Flood. Now, I actually strongly believe that it is a bad idea to use any specials, and this is for 2 reasons. The first is that in the time that it takes to get a special and kind of the flow of combat, you can get off 5 hits, and again with your crit chance, at least 3 of them are going to crit. So that is a chance to stun, it's a chance to regen, and all of that other stuff that, you know, comes with her buffs. Whereas if you use a special, it's probably going to crit because she does have an increased chance on that, but it's only 1 crit as opposed to 3. And again, a lot of the endgame revolves around getting as many procs as you can to keep enemies stunned, to keep yourself regenerating, to lock down their power. So I would not use any special abilities at all. If you go back to my Mingnar's Cavalry Challenge video and kind of watch the end of that, you'll see that I'm using absolutely no specials, and that allowed me to, for the most part, breeze through it. Also, using special abilities, especially the level 2, gives the enemy quite a big chunk of power. So yeah, overall, I think just outside of the context of normal gameplay, when you're doing like your daily quests and maybe even classic Realm of Legends, level 2s might be a good option for a large amount of damage, but when it comes to some of the harder and more challenging stuff, it's not really about doing a crazy amount of damage in one hit. It's about getting as many crits as possible to kind of lock your opponent down and keep your buffs up, and just, you know, keep on spiraling that crazy consistent damage and keeping the fight controlled. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that pretty much covers it for all of my Scarlet Witch tips. I hope you enjoyed this bit of a guide to how to get the most out of the champion. If you guys do have any additional tips or anything that I've missed out, please do leave them in the comments, guys, and we'll be sure to upvote them so everybody sees them. But I think for the most part, we've covered pretty much everything in there. One thing that I would say, again, because I don't recommend using specials on a lot of these challenging encounters, that is the reason I don't have Mystic Dispersion, because I don't think it is very good at all. So yeah, just wanted to quickly get that tip out there. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit more about the character and how to get the most out of her. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see more awesome Marvel Contest of Champions content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Apart from that, guys, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.